What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone. And welcome back to a serious update, because we are losing out on talent and targets because we don't have a set management at this moment in time. And I know the talks is out there in the media, but the sporting director is not really the issue. Comoli and Chiellini are taking over when it comes to signings. No, you're looking for a sporting director for a very obvious reason, because you need the right people in the right place. You cannot have 3 job descriptions and 1 person freestyling it, or 2 persons freestyling multiple positions. That's never going to work. That was the issue with Giuntoli. And right now, because we are not set, we are missing out on talent. Being at Coppola, and I will talk about that in a sec, being at Lioni, because Inter have overtaking us right now because we are just sitting there and not knowing what to do. So we're going to talk about that and much more. Before we do that, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about it. Okay, so right now we are missing out on players because Coppola is going to Verona. Is going from Verona to Brighton for 10 million euros, for example. A player I'm not high on when it comes to can he improve our starting 11. However, he has potential, and for that amount of money, you buy these players. You buy these players, even if they're a backup, you move on. The players you were not good enough, and you start cashing in on other type of players. Rugani, maybe a Gatti. You start cashing in on these players and improve the starting 11 whilst you have a Coppola on the team who costs you 10 million euros. The fact that we're not even in for these players is worrying. Lioni, for example, Inter are overtaking us. They're overtaking us. Is Lioni ready to start from match day 1 and compete? No. Is he going to do that at Inter? No. Is he going to do that in 6 months to a year? Yeah, probably. And if the club is pushing this, we want to be Italian core, Italian talent, go back to the old style roots, then you cannot miss out on these players. Like, that goes against everything you're trying to do, everything you're trying to say as a club, etc. And especially when you lose out to Inter, a rival, that makes things worse. That makes the entire situation of us not being set as management worse. When we were back in May and we were talking about it and was like, no way Giuntoli is going to be sacked right now. Like, the changes, like, it's not like the overlapping of situations and moments and whatever and opportunities is going to cost us. And right now it's costing us. And, the media can come out and say, we're not interested in Coppola and Lioni. We are. It's well documented. We are interested in these players. Actually, it's been confirmed by Cherubini himself. But you're missing out because you cannot convince agents and players to join you because we have no clarity. There's nothing clear. Whatever Comoli will say in his press conference or said in his press conference, it's not going to change anything because the people who should be in positions are still not in position. We know that. Agents know that. Players know that. Gasperini was not sold because he didn't know what the hell was going on at the club. Even Conte turned around and said, well, it's kind of weird looking, so what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? If these people are thinking that, then obviously agents and players are thinking the same way. And when it comes to Italian players, I've set my set, I don't think there's a lot of good Italian players out there which we can get, obviously, which are, real options for us to get. But the few who are out there, you cannot miss out on. Because where are you going to be in I don't know, 2 to 3 years when you're like, oh my God, they're balling out at Inter and now you're in a situation where you don't have these players. And you should be having these players. Or at least be in the race. Right now, we're in no race. There's no race. We're just sitting there. While other teams are passing us, are making bids, are opening talks, we are sitting here and opening talks with sporting directors and people who can be the scouting department, head of scouting. When you are losing out on talent that, might win you stuff at I don't know how many years, or be here for the next 10 to 20 years. Players who are also not that expensive. That is a crazy part, in our situation. You're missing out on Italian players, which you want as a club, who are not even expensive because you are way too late when it comes to planning. Even the talks about Comoli and Tudor will sit down to talk about transfer strategies. I'm like, these things should have been set weeks, months ago. Now you're going to do that? You're missing out on opportunities. You're missing out on getting early in with a player, planting the seed, opening talks, already being in an advantage position. Right now, if you go in for Lione, Inter are in a strong position. They might have wrapped it up, and the player's like, no, it's done. Like, I'm going to Inter. Whatever you offer me, I gave them my word. And Zan and Parma will probably do the same thing. Gave the word to Inter. You might be offering a little bit more, but it's done. It's over. We are very late. And I feel I think everybody feels there's no real sense of urgency at the club. It's like, yeah, we will get it done. If it's not now, then it's tomorrow. What difference does it make? It makes a massive difference. It does. It's so frustrating to witness, as a fan and just, yeah, as a fan. But the past 5 years or so, 4 years, like, have we not learned anything? We're just going to make the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's actually ridiculous, but it is actually happening. It is actually happening that you're losing out on players you should not be losing out on. And this might be for Lione or Coppola, but next week it could be for somebody else you want. It could be for a different type of player, different profile. And it keeps on going and keeps on going. And the problems get bigger and bigger and bigger because at the end, you will get in a situation where you're going to overspend for players who you know are not good enough, but you have no choice because you need to fill a hole. Like we did with Kelly, for example. Or you come in a situation where clubs are like, yeah, now you want my player. Now you're going to overpay. You're going to pay a little premium price because you're very late, etc. Or you're going to loan players again, pay a high loan fee. And then a year from now, you're like, actually, it's not good enough, but you wasted another 8 million euros because you wanted to loan a player and you had no other options. These are all mistakes we've made in the past year, 2 years, 3 years. And right now, you're on pace to repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. So, I don't know. Very confusing what the club is doing right now. I have no idea what they're doing. I think everybody is like sitting there and be like, what is actually the plan? What is the idea? Do you want to go Tudor? Yes or no? That's how everybody feels. And when it comes to players, it's like, yeah, like, are you going to sign the Italians you're telling us you want? Or are you just going to sit there and wait until they fall into your lap? Because that's not going to work. Everybody knows that. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you think about missing out on potentially Coppola and Lione and which other Italian players are out there the club, are looking for to build a backbone. Ciao.